Hello and welcome to my TBR for the Magical Readathon. I love this readathon. It's one of my favorites, created by Book Roast, who I will link below. And this is the autumn equinox, so there's a little bit more reading. My character is going for the role of Archmage, and so I have everything written down here because the rest of it was on my phone, which I'm filming. So I am going to go through all the prompts that I have. This is not even all the things that I want to read in September because I'm also participating in Smash That series, which I will make a separate vlog for because that one's a spin as you go for this round. So this isn't even all I want to read in September, and it's quite a bit. So September is going to need to be a hunker down and read kind of month. So we're going to start with alchemy. For this one, I need to read 3 books because I need to get to a level D in it. So for O, we have an emotional read. And I'm picking this one because this is one of my series that I want to read for Smash That series. This is The Way Home. This is 2 novellas set in the world of The Last Unicorn, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And it's 2 novellas. Text is fairly big, so I wanted to pick this one because I think it'll be short. I think it will be emotional because I cry every time I read The Last Unicorn at so many different points in the book. So I picked this one for O for alchemy. And then for a Q in alchemy, we needed to pick a book that had been self-published in the past but was now traditionally published. And I had one book on my shelves that worked for that one. Luckily, it was a book I've been wanting to read sooner rather than later, and that is Wool by Hugh Howey. This is a chunky book with a lot of text, but I've heard it's really good. This is a dystopian novel about people who basically had to go live in silos. And I've just heard it's really good. I've heard less good things about maybe further in this series, but I'm excited to read this one and see what I think. And then for D, I needed food on the cover, and I don't have a physical copy of this one with me, but this is the 7th volume of a manga that I'm reading called Tokyo Terroraba Girls. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's a great novel. It's by the same author of Princess Jellyfish, which is one of my favorite mangas of all time, and I'm loving this one possibly even more. I think she's a great writer. She's so funny in her writing, and I love her character work, and the situations her characters get into I think are really good. So I'm going to be reading volume 7. I'm actually going to need to read volumes 5, 6, and 7 in order to get to 7, so that'll be not too long, but adding to the TBR for sure. And then the next area of study is inscription. And the first one for O is I need to read a book with all the letters of my name in the title of my first name. So Cheyenne. So it's hard to find a book with 3 E's, 2 N's, a C, an H, and a Y. So luckily I found a couple choices from some very long titles on my shelves from the library. So I have 2 choices, and I'll kind of see what I'm in the mood for. This one I've had out from the library a little bit longer, so I might try to read this one. This is The Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Sugimura. This is an option. I've heard this is like fantasy school, so very fitting for the Magical Readathon. Or I have Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. And this one has been on my TBR for a long time. I have it out from the library because it's fall. I feel like what a perfect time to read it. It's about a book club that has to help save their town from vampires. And I've heard good things about it, and I really want to read this one this fall, so maybe this month. Okay, next for inscription for Q, I was supposed to do a title color wheel. So you'd spin a color wheel, and then you have whatever color it lands on, you read a book. that has that in the title. And I was looking through my shelves, and other than like green on one book, I really didn't have options for this one. So one of the new features is you can buy different scrolls using your guild reputation points in order to swap out things. You can do lots of different things, but I'm going to use the swapping scroll. It's a scroll of exchange, and I'm going to exchange that prompt for another prompt. And I'm going to do a book that's been on my TBR the longest. So I'm going to choose Beauty, which you might have seen on my Instagram, by Sherry S. Tepper. I did read a chapter of a bunch of books on my shelves recently on Instagram, and this is one of the books that I read the first chapter, really liked it. I thought it was funny and charming. It's a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but with a twist, and I really liked the vibe of it, and so I'm excited to continue on and read the full book. So I think I'm going to pick this one as one of the longest on my TBR. Next, we have Artificery. So for the O, this is the cover needs to have the color of my birthstone. So I was born in April. My birthstone is diamond, so it's one of the more boring colors to pick. So I went with kind of like a white, bluish, white, silvery kind of color. And I came up with My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This is a book I've had on my radar for a long time. It's a story about these friends who kind of grow up and grow apart, I think. And maybe someone did something terrible to one of them. And I don't know a lot about it because I kind of wanted to go in a little bit blind, but I've heard really good things about this. Emily from Emily Fox Books recently read this, and she said she loved the entire series. And if I love it, I have the other 3 books out from the library right now, so I could binge it all if I really wanted to. So this one's for birthstone color. And then I have 2 left. So for spells and incantations, I need an O, which is a 5-star prediction. And this will come in no surprise to people who've been following me on Instagram. I am reading this still. I'm a decent way into it. I've been working my way slowly through it in August, and I'm going to need to pick up the pace in September. So I'm about 460 pages through, but I still have a good almost 800 pages left. So this is still a very chunky book, but this is my 5-star prediction. Like, as far as I am into it and how the rest of the series has gone, I would find it very hard to not give this 5 stars. And then the last one is I need to find a book that has been on Book Roast channel. And so I only had like a couple options of ones that I wanted to read currently, but Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I found this book at a thrift store 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and I really want to read it. I really like the Night Circus, but this is one that's been on like the back layer of my bookshelf, so it's had books in front of it, and I don't think to pick it up. I've heard this is a book about books, kind of like a story within a story within a story, and kind of meandering, and I think that this would be good to read in September, in the fall, nice and cozy book reads. So this is part of my TBR for September, but the entirety of my Magical Readathon TBR plus those 3 volumes of manga. So wish me luck. These are not all small books. A couple of them are. And there's some other things that I want to do. Like there's some quests I kind of want to go on during the month. So we'll just see what happens. I'm really going to be dedicating a lot of time to reading this month. And if you want to join in the readathon, I'll leave the links down below. Check out Book Growth. She's a very fun booktuber. I've loved watching her videos for years. And so check her out, support her, thank her for this awesome readathon. It's so much fun. I look forward to it every time it comes around. And if you don't want to join in this one, wait for the spring because it'll happen again. It happens twice a year and it's just a blast. I would highly recommend.